Hello, I've seen a video made by Oli Matthews in which he compares the narcissist to to the therm to the Terminator, and it's a very intelligent video. It's a very intelligent comparison, but I've been thinking about the other image that they give about narcissists, and I've been watching vampire movies. It's a very old. It's a very old idea that narcissists are emotional vampires. Now, there are videos on YouTube made by a guy named Bill Sneblin, in which he talks about vampirism. He says that vampirism is a very real phenomenon. He says that you can live off of blood, only of blood, if you want to, and that it becomes an addiction. You get addicted to blood. I got the following information. I don't remember where I got, but perhaps from a video in which they were talking about occult rituals, and this woman said that if an occultist is going to kill a baby or a child to drink his blood, first they torture the child so that the brain can release maybe adrenaline and endomorphins in the system, in the blood, and that makes the blood that creates a high in the person who's going to drink the blood. Now, Bill Sneblin also says that there are psychic vampires, and narcissists are the number one. That's a fact, I guess. It's just an opinion of mine. I correct myself here. It's just an opinion of mine that narcissists are psychic vampires that suck your psychic blood, your mental life, emotional life, and they get addicted to what they suck, your mind, blood, if you call it. And they also torture you so that your mental blood can get more addictive. Your mind gets more intense, like the blood of a baby who's tortured is it's more precious to the vampire, because it gets, let's say, gets more juicy on the eyes of the vampire with endomorphins and adrenaline. And also your mind gets more juicy when you're full of emotion, be it positive or negative emotion. If you give positive attention or negative attention to the vampire narcissist. And the vampire narcissist is also addicted to your mind, to your emotions. They feed off of it. The more emotional you get, the more juicy your blood, your psychic blood gets, and they are addicted and they get the high. It is known that when the narcissist gives you a bullying session, he gets more relaxed, perhaps because of a high, I don't know. And there's another thing called duping delight, which is the pleasure the narcissist gets when he's lying to you, deceiving you. I've seen it. They give you a smile, which is the manifestation of the pleasure. A smile which is unexplainable. You ask yourself, why was she or why was he smiling at that time, which was so inappropriate to smile? There was no reason. It was because their pleasure, inner pleasure, they were deceiving you, probably. Now, having said that, I would like to remind you of a movie called An Interview with the Vampire. In this movie, you have Lestat, you have Louis, and then you have Armand. In one scene, Lestat, Louis was reluctant to kill him because he valued human life. And then Lestat says, "You are a killer, Louis. Don't deny your nature. Do what's in your nature to do." But Louis is a kind of very interesting character because he's a hybrid form of vampire. And he has something that Lestat and Armand and the other vampires don't have. Although he says he's empty, he's not that empty. He's not that empty. And the proof that Louis is not empty is that Claudia, which is a kind of another empty vampire, Lestat and Armand, they all want to be with Louis. Have you asked yourself, why is that interest of Armand in Louis? What is the interest of Lestat in Louis? And now I tell you, Louis was sucked of his blood, and now these vampires need or want to suck Louis' psyche, because Louis has something that they don't have. He has empathy. He has respect for human life. Louis has feelings. He is not empty. But Lestat and Armand they both want to suck Louis' psychic life. Lestat needs Louis to, if I remember well, to get acquainted with the more modern life or world. And Armand wants Louis, you see in the last scene between the two, Louis says to Armand that you want me to revive you again. And he says to Armand, you feel nothing, you regret nothing. You want me to quicken you again. And Armand says, I'm going to die. And that's right. Armand is not only a blood vampire, he's also a psychic vampire. All the vampires are also psychic vampires. And if they don't, they die. Armand says that they die. They are not immortal. In this story written by Anne Rice, the book, and then made into a movie. Isn't that something? Now, I forgot what I was going to say next. I really forgot. But well, what was the solution that Louis found? He went no contact with those psychic vampires because he saw that he didn't need them. Louis doesn't need them. They are empty. Louis is not. Louis is independent. And the psychic vampires are dependent. They are weak. And that's you. Louis. You are Louis. I was Louis all the time. I had my interior life, my psychic life. And I was independent. You were independent. But the narcissist is dependent. The narcissist is weak. But his arrogance makes everything seem that he is the one who's strong one. And you're the one who's weak. And here's the thing. Real life is different from fiction. You can, because if you're sucked by a psychic vampire, like the narcissist, yes, you run the risk of getting infected. There are videos on the internet about you getting infected by narcissism. You become kind of like another narcissist. But the thing is, you can devampirize yourself. You can undo it. The curse of narcissism, the curse of this psychic vampire. You can make a choice not to become one, a vampire. Because in the stories, if you're sucked by a vampire, you get infected with malice. I mean, you become another vampire. And if you think about psychic vampires, you can become infected with malice, with poison. You get to know the tactics. You get to know the evil boundaries that the narcissist sets on you, and you start doing the same. The narcissist hates intimacy, and then you start hating intimacy too. You put the wall and you forbid everything that has to do with life to come into your life, and you end up not living your life. And you can detoxify yourself, you can devampirize yourself. Not like in fiction. That's a good thing. Uh, have you seen, now to continue in this comparison, have you seen how vampires killed their victims? Have you ever observed it? In Interview with the vampire girl Claudia, she lures a woman, she makes the woman feel pity for her, and then the woman goes next to her, sits next to her. The woman, Claudia makes the woman put her defenses down. The woman is unprotected, and then Claudia attacks, sucks the woman. The woman dies. There's another movie called Let the Right One In. I guess, I don't remember the country where it was made, maybe Sweden. And the vampire girl, she's I forgot her name. I gotta remember her name. Is she was called the guy, the boy is called Oscar, and she's called, well, I forgot. She kills a guy under a bridge. She makes the guy feel pity for her. She pretends she's sad, hurt, like Claudia. The guy puts his defenses down. He goes near her with his defenses down, and when he's least expected, she attacks, sucks his blood, and kills him. Now, have you ever observed that this is the same tactic the narcissist applies on you and on me? Have you observed that? How when you get really angry after your narcissist says horrible things to you, or does horrible things to you, in the cycle of abuse, when you get angry and you threaten to leave the relationship, the narcissist destroys you, disarms you, and puts your defenses down so that you come back to him. Have you ever observed that? Yes, that's very interesting, isn't it? Very, very interesting. You know, this comparison between vampires and psychic vampires is very important, because if vampires in the stories, they suck, and in real life, according to Bill Sneblin, they suck life, and maybe they kill people. Psychic vampires, like narcissists, they can suck your mind and kill you mentally. And I'm talking about madness. I'm talking about illness. They suck your mind out of you. Yeah, there's some kind of mind control that exists, that they kill you. You know, you become another person. They can program you, or they can break you and put something else in the place. That's exactly like what the narcissist does. You know, he is a killer. He kills your mind and your psyche. And What's the solution? Do like Louis did. Get out. Go no contact with those psychic vampires. Louis didn't want to be around Armand and Lestat. So that he was not used, because they wanted to use Louis. So that Louis was not abused, because they hurt Louis to serve their own purposes. And Louis was extremely disappointed with that. Now in the movie Dracula, the solution is to put a stick through a vampire's heart. You end up killing the vampire. Well, I guess that in most cases that's not possible for narcissistic abuse victims. But you can do it in other ways, and another way to kill a vampire is just to kill the vampire out of your life, out of your mind. Which is hard to do at first, but when the addiction is broken, things start to get better. You are able to think about other things, especially if you go to treatment with a therapist or a psychiatrist. You know, there are things you can take that I'm talking about drugs, of course legal drugs, that help you. They are anti-obsessive. Usually I guess that antidepressants also have these properties. They have anti-obsessive properties. They help you not think about the same thing over and over again, and they help you not become so anxious, and you can start living your life again. There's a hope. You don't have to be infected. You don't need to be infected. You're independent. You can become independent. Many victims of psychic vampires, they might not be codependent. They are molded. The narcissist fosters codependency in healthy people. Other people have codependent tendencies early on, and codependent, I guess you can define it as someone who's addicted to someone who is addicted. So you depend on the addiction together with the other person. I guess who says this in so clear terms is Harriet Brecker, if I'm not mistaken, okay? And you can read books about codependency. You can join a group. You can start taking steps to avoid being codependent. To learn, because many times we don't even know what this is. We are not to blame. You can read books like the one written by Melody Betty, if I'm not mistaken, Codependent No More, and many other books. So you are not a vampire. You don't have to become infected with the poison. You can detoxify. You don't have to become another psychic vampire. You don't have to spend your rest of your days being with codependent tendencies, which are going, which may attract other vampires. Vampires, psychic vampires, are real. They suck your emotions, everything that's good, and they replace it with negativity, with poison, and with bad messages about yourself. It was someone in a sad moment in history who said that a lie told 10 times becomes truth. The narcissist, the vampire, is a liar, and the messages that he tells you over and over again are lies, but they cause damage. That's the poison that makes you become a psychic vampire if you don't get rid of this poison. Thanks for your time. Take care.